North Texas Giving Day is coming up next week, and it's a crucial moment of the year for Denison Forum. In fact, North Texas Giving Day is always our single biggest day of giving. So we want to ask you to give generously on or before North Texas Giving Day to help provide biblically grounded and civil content that inspires, informs, and most importantly, transforms lives for Christ. And here's the best part. You don't have to live in North Texas to make a difference. Your support from wherever you are can double your impact thanks to a special $75,000 matching grant. You can give now by visiting thedailyarticle.org. That's thedailyarticle.org. Every gift helps guide more Christians through these challenging times with a steady, nonpartisan, and civil voice. Join us in making this North Texas Giving Day a powerful moment for our ministry and for our shared mission to reclaim our culture for Christ. Visit thedailyarticle.org today to give, knowing it will be doubled by the matching grant. Thank you for your generosity and partnership.
It's Thursday, September the 12th, 2024. Welcome to the Daily Article Podcast. Today's article is written by Dr. Jim Denison and narrated by Chris Elkins of the Denison Forum. There are days that change our lives, the day we were married, the day a child is born, the day a loved one dies. And there are days that change history. Ground Zero refers to the site where the two tallest towers of New York City's World Trade Center collapsed on September the 11th, 2001. I remember vividly my visit to this somber and sobering site some years ago. Yesterday, President Joe Biden, former President Donald Trump, Vice President Kamala Harris, and Vice Presidential nominee J.D. Vance stood there together as the names of the victims were read. The gathering gave testimony to the deep pain all Americans still share on the anniversary of the worst terrorist attack in our nation's history. The memory of that tragedy still haunts many of us. The following may be emotionally difficult, but Lawrence Wright does an excellent job in The Looming Tower describing what happened that morning in New York City. Quote, "The cloudless sky filled with coiling black smoke and a blizzard of paper, memos, photographs, stock transactions, insurance policies, which fluttered for miles on a gentle southeasterly breeze across the East River into Brooklyn. Debris spewed onto the streets of Lower Manhattan, which were already covered with bodies. Some of them had been exploded out of the building when the planes hit. A man walked out of the towers carrying someone else's leg. Jumpers landed on several firemen, killing them instantly. The air pulsed with sirens as firehouses and police stations all over the city emptied, sending the rescuers, many of them to their deaths." End quote. A man named Brian Sweeney left this message on his wife's answering machine. "Jules, this is Brian. Listen, I'm on an airplane that has been hijacked. If things don't go well, and it's not looking good, I just want you to know I absolutely love you. I want you to do good, go have good times. Same to my parents and everybody, and I just totally love you, and I will see you when you get there. Bye, babe. I hope I called you." The remains of roughly 40% of the 9/11 victims have not yet been identified. Over 25,000 people were injured in the aftermath of the attacks, many suffering long-term health consequences from toxic contaminants and personal trauma. The attacks led to wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. Roughly 15,000 U.S. troops and contractors were killed in post-9/11 missions. Estimates project a total combined cost of the wars exceeding $3 trillion, with interest on the debt used to finance operations reaching $6.5 trillion by 2050. If you're like me, you struggle to know what you can do to respond. You want to make a difference, to serve your nation, to change your world for the better. You want your life to matter when it's over. However, as 9/11 proved, no one knows when that day will come. The poet Christopher Morley claimed, "There is only one success, to be able to spend your life in your own way." End quote. But you know in your heart that this is not true, that the truest success is to spend your life in the service of a cause greater than yourself. you agree with the late Senator John McCain. The richest men and women possess nothing of real value if their lives have no greater object than themselves. What should this greater object be? The writer of Lamentations 3, verse 17 bemoans, "My soul is bereft of peace. I have forgotten what happiness is." Then he remembers the answer to his despair in verses 21 through 23. "This I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness." Then he testified in verse 24, "The Lord is my portion, says my soul. Therefore, I will hope in him." Why should we hope in him today? Commenting on Jesus' parable in Matthew 13, verses 31 and 32, about the tiny mustard seed that grows into a large tree, Pastor Paul Powell wrote, Jesus told this little parable to suggest that there is a silent, unseen power that works in nature that makes a seed grow. You cannot see it, you cannot hear it, but that silent, unseen power begins to work in a seed to make it sprout and grow into a large plant that can produce much fruit. Operating in the world today is the silent, unseen power of God. And when you go about your work, you must remember always that God is at work at the same time. You need to remember that there are powers in our world that cannot be seen and cannot be heard. We are so awed and impressed by the things we can see that we are apt to forget that there is a greater power that is silent and unseen. Powell continued, "With this understanding of faith and confidence, the Christian can be an optimist even in the light of today's headlines. With this kind of faith, a Christian can be hopeful in the dark hours." End quote. Is this kind of faith yours today?
Are you feeling anxious or overwhelmed by the intensity of this election season? As followers of Jesus, we're called to rise above the chaos and embrace a path of peace. But in a world where political tension runs high, that's often easier said than done. That's why Denison Forum has compiled all the resources you need in one place, designed to help you navigate politics with faith and understanding. At denisonforum.org/election, you'll find resources for every need. Whether you're looking for daily Christian perspectives on political news, guided prayers to keep your heart grounded, or tools to help your children understand the season from a faith-based perspective, we have you covered. These resources are here to help you filter through the noise and approach the political season with a biblical mindset. Equip yourself and your family today. Visit denisonforum.org/election and embrace a faith-filled approach to politics this season. Together, let's rise above the chaos and stand firm in our faith.